Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. As we're heading into the weekend, Ether is behaving well. It's behaving nicely according to the roadmap that we discussed in the last video. Obviously here on the ETH chart, we're currently looking at the micro perspective, but I mentioned to you that a pullback is due in wave 4. It might be happening over this weekend, might be unfolding today, maybe even tomorrow. And let's talk about the structure of this correction. I already added a microstructure to the chart yesterday because it was clearer than what the Bitcoin chart is producing, which isn't really doing much. But the ETH chart already showed a potential A wave. So pretty much when we had the low point here in this A wave, I added for you the B wave resistance area. I did not have to adjust it because we basically picked the low. The B wave resistance was defined between $2,807 and $2,841. Now I have to say, B waves don't really have a standard target, but we can identify just a resistance area that ideally the price is reacting to. So we want to talk a little bit about that. The price did react to it and is already on its way down. The question is, has the C wave down already started? And that could take us into this orange support area for the wave 4. What I will do, I will delete now this target area that we had up here for this third wave. And because we don't need it anymore. So I'll take that out. But you see the price reacted basically nicely to these Fibonacci levels. So, and now we can look at, and then we had a first warning, obviously, which was the break of the trend line. And the retest from below is pretty much textbook. And now this A wave to the downside, this is what I assume at the moment. Be prepared for potential wave count changes. Anybody who's not so familiar with Elliott Wave, you might be surprised, but in corrective structures, we always have to brace ourselves for frequent wave count changes because these corrections, they can extend, they can take different patterns. There are more than 10 corrective patterns in Elliott Wave, whereas when we talk about a trending structure, basically a trend following or trend producing structure like a so-called motive wave, we only really have an impulse and a diagonal, whereas even the impulse, there's really only one impulse, but corrections, we have more than 10 patterns that can unfold, and you end up having corrections within corrections. So just be prepared for that. So I'm still tracking a simple ABC structure here in yellow. Assumption is we are following this right now until the market tells me I have to change the microstructure. What is more important than the actual microstructure itself in a correction is to understand what is the support level. And the main support level that divides bullish momentum from bearish momentum in this particular scenario here, which started on the 23rd of January, that key level is 2,460. So technically speaking, this yellow wave 4 could all the way go down to 2,460 without changing the scenario. But I tell you that already below 2,530, it will become far less likely that the yellow count is playing out, and it might be the white one. Maybe just a quick word about the white count before we dive into the microstructure of yellow. In the white count, we have a 3-wave top in a B wave, and this B wave topped, and we're coming down in a C wave, and will form a lower low most likely below the 23rd of January, might enter the green box there, and the wave 2 correction that presumably finished on the 23rd of January never finished. This, for example, is however only, this is only my alternative at the moment, okay? So there's no need to focus on it primarily until we even get close to 2,530. No, in fact, we're following a microstructure here at the moment in the yellow count, which means as soon as wave 4 is over, which is a corrective pattern, a wave 5 could still unfold. I mentioned to you before that in terms of support, we can watch the ascending trend line here. We can watch the 38.2 retracement and the 23.6 retracements. So 2,700, 2,605, then the ascending trend line. And in addition to that, once we have a top in wave B, I said I can add another specific target area for wave C of 4. And that's now between $2,625 and $2,694. So there's a specific additional area to watch. Now, it is possible at this stage that the B wave extends. Easily possible. Happens all the time. Yeah, you just cannot predict it. That's what I mean. we have to be prepared for these changes in microstructure. B waves can easily extend, so it takes a break below the A wave low at 2,749 to confirm the C wave is unfolding. Until then, it could be that this was just the A wave of a B wave, this was the B wave of a B wave, and we move up a little further into resistance. What happens if we break resistance? Well, yeah, it could be the correction is over, but also it's possible B waves overshoot. So within corrections, it's not that easy. I would just adopt the mindset to say, okay, let's just see if the market offers a deep pullback. And the next step to confirming that would be a break below that 2,749 level. But the way I know the markets work, typically, I would not be surprised if we see an extended B wave. I would not be surprised at all, especially on a weekend. It would be too easy to just follow through in a simple ABC structure, especially that B wave was quite weak. Don't get me wrong, it fulfilled the minimum expectations. We have a reaction to the parameters outlined, but 3 waves down at the moment, yeah? Until we get 5 waves down, there's always the possibility and the likelihood for an extended B wave. Okay, so that just prepare yourselves. And then, okay, if we come down, and then we have to change the target area as well, but we can do that along the way. If the wave 4, or if the ABC structure eventually finishes, that's when we need to be watching for a next 5 wave move up, because it could be that it's just forming a larger ABC structure. Bear in mind, that support area is large. So what we don't know at this stage is the first initial ABC enough to complete the wave 4. That's what I'm going to track, but as an alternative, we need the extended ABC structure. Happens also all the time. So once a first corrective pattern is complete, depending on, how deep it is and how long it took, and, is it enough to correct the move up that happened, okay? If not, then it will extend. So these are the things we have to be watching for. But, the microstructure is, again, it's just noise. What really is important, does the market produce a reversal before breaking below the orange support box? And to be honest, ideally, before breaking below $2,532. That's my update about Ether. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.